What's up, YouTube? This is Patrick, and I am here again with a collection update. This time, this is a death metal CD collection update, including a VCLT. So, let's start with the VCLT. I agree with Marty Worm that VCLT is kind of a strange name. Vinyl Community Love Train. But that is what it is, right? That is what it is. Sometimes trains are involved, but usually trucks and planes. But it is out of love for our fellow extreme music fans. And also we might need a new name though, a new acronym because well, I'm calling this a VCLT even though it was a CD. But let's start with that. We all know Classy Lonnie Metal here on YouTube. And well, he sent me this CD right here. This is Unnatural with the Path to Ruin. And this has everyone's favorite uncle, Ken, from Ken's Death Metal Crypt here on YouTube. And yeah, I was watching an unboxing, a grab bag that Lonnie was opening on YouTube. And he said, hey, anybody want this CD by Unnatural? He already has it. He'd love to send this out. He sent it out to me, free of charge. And he said, I hope you enjoy Uncle Ken's slab of death metal. I would have done a full VCLT, but the recent giveaway emptied me out. Stay classy. Lonnie is nothing if not classy. So thanks to, and yeah, he gave me 2 stickers. Pretty cool. Thanks to Classy Lonnie Metal. So yeah, this is a death metal CD collection update. Unnatural. So this is a 5-track EP. Unnatural are from Joliet, Illinois. And this is one of their first releases. And they actually have albums after this. This came out in 2016. So I'll be interested to hear what they turned this band into. So it's a 2-piece. Ken is on vocals. Surprised to hear Ken's vocals. He has a good low death metal growl. He has actually interesting cadences. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. He's been a fan of this stuff forever, longer than I've been alive. But, so yeah, here's the CD in case if anybody wants to see the CD. 5-song EP. I would say check out the song Those Who Mourn, The Grave Bride. This was put out in Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions. But inside, that's what I wanted to read. Ken and Ted write, thanks to the bands that inspired us, Obituary, Entombed, Repulsion, Grave, Deicide, Unleashed, Bolt Thrower, Cyanide, and countless others. Those inspirations are what you're going to hear on here. This is meat and potatoes, obituary style death metal. Pretty good stuff. I've only listened to it once. I definitely like it enough to listen to it again. Like I said, I'm going to check out the rest of Unnatural. Shout out to Classy Lonnie for sending this CD VCLT my way. Let's go on to the death metal CDs that I purchased. And also, this is the first time you're seeing CDs on my channel. And here's what I'm thinking right now in terms of collecting CDs. So, some of these albums I'm going to show are CD only releases. And some of them have vinyl coming out in the future, but they're not available yet. We all are aware of supply chain issues due to COVID-19 and the particular political economy that we have built over the last 4 decades or so, causing some of the pain that we are experiencing right now in terms of supply chain issues. So, but so some of these are all 2021 gems, by the way. 2021 releases coming up, and basically my rationality, my reasoning is thus. With a couple of exceptions, which of course I'll point out, most of these albums I don't necessarily like enough, to be honest, to probably buy on vinyl for $24.99 plus shipping, $29.99 plus shipping. So if I was reviewing these CDs, I would mostly give them between 7 and 7.5, except for a couple of exceptions, as you'll hear. So they're worth listening to, but I don't necessarily love them the same way I love the albums that I buy on vinyl, which tend to be, in my head, the way I organize them tend to be albums that are at least an 8 out of 10, of course, according to my subjective ranking system that I have in my head. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, first up, we have the Finnish melodic death metal band Sadistic Forest and their EP Obscure Old Remains. Sadistic Forest have been around for a while. They formed in 2007 in Finland. Pretty cool display here. This is released by um, Transcending Obscurity Records, based out of India. They always have pretty good releases. They also have very good physical media packages that they provide for their bands, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I actually like Sadistic Forest overall. I think they're mid-tier death metal band. The high parts are really high, the low parts aren't really low. A solid melodic death metal band. Um, this, they say here in one of the Digipack panels, what you are holding in your hands is an experiment. Since the formation of Sadistic Forest in 2007, we've always wanted to record the band live in studio. Still, each of our albums has been a case of careful building of a puzzle instead. When we agreed with Transcending Obscurity Records to do a follow-up EP to our previous album, Morbid Majesties, we saw an opportunity there. EP is always a possibility to be a bit more. So yeah, they recorded this live to tape in the studio. It kind of, sounds like that. That's a pretty cool feature of this release. Sadistic Force, some of the words I wrote down when I was listening to this album the last time: groovy, melodic, almost upbeat tremolos, rumbling, audible bass. And like all of these CDs, actually, it does reward multiple listens, which is what you always want when you're buying something. Let's see. The song Nile, track 3, Nile, is a really good track to check out. And they even have some guitar parts remind me of the Dillinger Escape Plan, and I can't even really explain it. Maybe a bit mathcore-y, but but it doesn't this but it doesn't really sound like that. It just reminds me of those sounds. Maybe there's certain chords or notes or key that they're playing in. Sadistic Forest, Obscure Old Remains, a pretty cool 2021 EP right here. Next up, we have Fossilization with He Whose Name Was Long Forgotten. This is a gnarly death doom project from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Two-piece. They formed in 2020. Um, they might have something else released before this, like a demo, but this is, I believe, their first EP. It's out on Everlasting Spew Records. Transylvanian Tapes put out the cassette version. I listened to this early in the year. put it on my list as far as some of my favorite EPs go. And I would say it's atmospheric death doom, and when they break into their heavy fast death metal parts, I would say it's Morbid Angel like death metal parts, really really fast death metal. But there's a little bit of Worm in here. I think of the band Crips, uh, fellow 2021 Death Doomers. Well, I already said Worm. That's a little bit in the atmosphere and some of the kick drum patterns. But I'm also thinking of Mortiferum. Mortiferum comes to my mind. Fossilization. He whose name was long forgotten. Check out track one, Neanderthal Tombs, and the way it ends will make you keep listening to track two, and then you'll keep listening. 24-minute, 5 songs, almost 25 minutes. I I probably do have to be in the mood for this, but yeah, solid, good, Death Doom. Definitely looking forward to an LP from this band here from Brazil. Check them out. Up next, we have another release from Everlasting Spew. This is a debut full length, again from 2021, from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a Colst with Crepitation Fleckathon. And the album artwork was not probably, the album artwork was obviously why out of all the releases that come out every Friday, the artwork stuck out. Note to bands, which all these bands right now are killing it on the artwork front. But yeah, 11 songs, 33 minutes and 27 seconds. Evil, dark, atmospheric, but still riff-based, old school death metal. A lot of tempo and rhythmic diversity on the album. Um, Cover art was by Beksinski. Let me try that again. Beksinski is the cover artist here. Yeah, probably the most interesting of these slabs, these CDs here that I'm showing. Probably the most interesting. Definitely rewards multiple listens. Vocal style is kind of um, Kenneth Parker on Vox here. Makes me think of the vocalist of Cerebral Rot. Wispy almost growl. Uh, Very hard to make out any words whatsoever, to be honest. I should have said this about Fossilization, but Fossilization, the vocal here from V is all that we know from the vocalist. His name is V. V here sounds like Paul from Ulcerate, maybe even Immolation, but Ulcerate type of vocals, and they're actually out front in the mix more than a lot of a lot of a lot of these releases that I'm showing off today. So back to a Coast. Yeah, one of the most interesting releases that I'm showing today, a full-length album. Yeah, once again, kind of get that Morbid Angel death metal feel. It might be because I listened to Morbid Angel today. But yeah, a lot of Morbid Angel vibes in this collection update. But early Morbid Angel. Yeah, this is a very standout album. And in fact, if I saw it on vinyl in the store before I purchased this and it was a decent price, I probably would have been excited enough to pick it up. But still has room to grow. The band has room to grow. But this is solid. Definitely check this out. You might even like it more than I do. Objectively, it's again really good. It's gonna fall on your ears. Subjectively different than it fell on mine. But yeah, at least a 7.5 album right here in my hands. A Colst, their debut LP, Crepitation, a Fleckathon. Next up, and this is the exception to the rule of this update, this album, one of my favorite death metal albums of the year. They are from Finland. They have 2 demos before this, but I'm talking about a very glary. Morbific, Ominous Seep of Putridity, and a lot of YouTube metal is definitely aware of this band. They were actually interviewed on Ken's Death Metal Crypt. We learned that they recorded this album in their high school using whatever instruments they had there. What? Yeah, what? This album by Morbific here. Yeah, again, one of my favorite albums of the year, period. I would own this on vinyl. I want to own this on vinyl. I anticipate owning this on vinyl. They are not out yet, so I picked it up here by Head Split Records. Great label. I believe out of the west coast of the United States. They also put out some killer cassettes. Morbific was given. Morbific was reviewed in the August 2021 Decibel issue. Morbific. This is the last sentence of the review. They gave him a 9. Truly a track for track masterpiece. I mean, that's high praise for any album ever, right? Morbific should be really proud of what they produced. Again, melodic death metal, but not mellow death, just finish death metal. They also, you can hear some asphyx in there, but you can hear some immolation in the guitar squeals. But yeah, a track by track masterpiece. The What stands out to me is the melodies. They have a very mature understanding of how to write death metal melodies. Yeah, this stands up with almost every release I heard this year. Um, you'll probably hear me talk. You will hear me talk about them more later, towards the end of the year. Morbific, Ominous Seep of Putridity, 10 songs, 32 minutes and 50 seconds. Fantastic debut album. You like old school death metal? You're going to really like this. Next up, and I forgot to mention, I am repping Maggot Stomp right here. Maggot Stomp Death Metal. Great label out of Cleveland, Ohio. This is the debut LP from Sarcophagus, Delusions of the Sick, and awesome artwork. You're not going to be able to see it very well in my video. Sarcophagus, 8 songs, 26 minutes, 22 seconds. 3-piece from Cleveland, Ohio. They had 2 demos before this. This is death worship, in my opinion. It's death metal, a little bit thrashy, a little bit loose. That's who stands out the most to me whenever you're thinking of old school influences. I'm sure there's a ton others, but as big and influential, I mean, hell, we're talking about death metal. Death doesn't come to my mind, that often when I hear new old school death metal bands. I often think of Immolation, Incantation, Autopsy, Obituary, Creeping Death is who I'm thinking of there. But yeah, so that's worth mentioning to me. Sarcophagus, this is death worship. It's awesome. Um, Pretty sure this is a CD only release, or at least what I mean by that is not released on vinyl. Pretty good slab of death metal here. I think the vocalist even sounds like Chuck a little bit, if Chuck was a bit more. I know his name is Evil Chuck, but a bit more evil, a bit more rough, gruff. Sarcophagus, Delusions of the Sick, another great debut album from these Cleveland death metal maniacs. 2 more to show you. Next up, probably the biggest band. They've been around the longest, since 1995, from East Flanders, Belgium. And I am talking about Maniac Cult. The How many albums? The 11th LP from Aborted that came out this year, Maniac Cult. Aborted. And yeah, this to me is out on vinyl, but I don't like it enough to own it on vinyl. CD is going to be enough for me, but I'll definitely listen to this. Well, I plan on keep listening. I'm going to keep listening to Aborted. I actually haven't listened to that many of their older albums. I listened to the album previous to this, maybe one more previous to that. I like it. Technical, brutal death metal for fans of cattle decapitation, dying fetus, but really cattle decapitation. Awesome vocals here by Swen. Highs, lows, mid range. Um, yeah, this it's fun to listen to. It has it has everything you want in a technical, brutal death metal band. Yeah, happy to pick this up for the price that I found it at. Aborted Mania Cult. Last but not least, the most fun listen that I picked up. Another Maggot Stomp band. Of course, this band is responsible for this entire update. This band is why I decided to buy CDs again. Right here, 200 stab wounds, slave to the scalpel. First reaction, I gave it a 7.5, which I considered a compliment for this style of death metal. Um, they had a major, right? They had a big EP out in 2020. I listened to it. I could hear the potential and the possibility, but I didn't necessarily like the super low guttural vocals. But I could hear the talent. I loved how heavy it was. This is a this is a dramatic improvement over their EP. This is a fleshed out sound. 9 songs, 26 minutes and 59 seconds. The perfect time for this kind of death metal, in my opinion. This is brutal death metal, Cannibal Corpse style, worship. You hear immolation guitar, squeals and pinches at times. But yeah, very fun. The the pacing of it, the transitions, man, I love it. The energy almost never stops. There's a couple of uh, what do you call them? Clips interspersed, but pretty much you press play and then 27 minutes later, your neck is broken, you're a caveman, and you're just having the time of your life. So yeah, I'm not going to necessarily say it's probably a little bit better than a 7.5. Um, Besides Morbific, this is my second favorite out of this bunch here. Again, if you're watching this channel, you've probably heard of 200 Stab Wounds. They're kind of polarizing for the style of death metal they play. This band has this band has larger potential than just I don't know, however you want to think of them. I think this band is. I'm really excited to watch this band develop and grow. Another Cleveland, Ohio act here. Maggot Stomp. Yeah, Slave to the Scalpel. Check it out. That was my death metal CD collection update. Once again, thank you, Lonnie, for sending me Unnatural. And yeah, talk to you all very soon. Bye.